Welcome back. All right, we are continuing with our story, Hank Zipzer, Holy Enchilada. Today we're reading chapters 2 and 3 because chapter 2 is literally only this page and that's it. So it's pretty short. All right, so we're going to read chapters 2 and 3 today. We all decided that the only fair way to pick who was going to host Yoshi was to pull a name out of a hat. After recess, Miss Adolph told each of us to write our name down on a slip of paper. I thought we should put them in my Mets baseball hat, but some of the girls objected because I had gotten it pretty sweaty at recess. So instead, we put the names in Ashley's lavender baseball cap, the one she decorated with a red rhinestone flower and a yellow stem. Miss Adolph closed her eyes, reached in, and pulled out one of the slips of paper. Here's what it said: Hank Zipzer. Can you believe it? In case you hadn't realized it, that's me. Chapter 3. I was very excited to have been chosen to host Yoshi. I still had to get permission from my parents before it was totally official. I was pretty sure I could get them to agree if I told them it was an educational experience. They're very big on educational experiences. Where's Yoshi going to sleep? Ashley asked me as we sat down at our usual table in the lunchroom. I call top bunk, Frankie said, just assuming that he was going to sleep over when Yoshi did. We'll put the Yoshi man on the floor. People in Japan sleep on the floor all the time, you know. That's not going to work, I answered. Catherine might sneak up on him in the night and lick him with that sandpaper tongue of hers. Catherine is my sister Emily's pet iguana, and trust me, you don't want her long, sticky tongue anywhere near any of your body parts. I opened my lunch bag and groaned. My mom had packed me another one of her science experiment sandwiches. My mom owns a deli called the Crunchy Pickle, and she's trying to come up with a new low-carb, high-fiber bagel to sell at the deli. Since I'm always the guinea pig for her weird food experiments, she had packed me a broccoli mushroom bagel for lunch. Hold the cream cheese, of course, because that might actually taste good. Instead, she had covered my greenish-brownish bagel with ground-up garbanzo beans and parsley and soy sauce. It looked like the stuff that holds the bricks in our fireplace together. I'll trade you half of mine for half of yours, I offered Frankie. He had a peanut butter and banana on Wonder Bread that my taste buds were screaming for. Frankie reached out and poked at my bagel with his finger. It didn't move. I think it's dead, he said, or dying. Frankie handed me half of his peanut butter Wonder. After all these years of being my best friend, he just assumes he's got to give me half of his sandwich on the days when my mom is practicing her creative cooking. I hope your mom doesn't try to feed one of those bagels to Yoshi, Ashley said. He'll go running back to Japan. Actually, that's not possible, said a nasal voice from behind us. Japan is an island country consisting of 4 main islands and more than 3,000 small islands surrounded by water. It's not possible to run to Japan. Actually, he would have to swim. It was Robert Upchurch, a third-grade pest and ruler of the land of know-it-alls. He lives in the same apartment building as Frankie, Ashley, and me, and his goal in life is to be our best friend and my sister Emily's boyfriend. Our goal in life is to keep away from him, as far away from him as possible. Anyone object if I join you? Robert asked, putting his tray down next to Ashley before we could say yes. We all object a lot. Hey, Robert, my man, Frankie said, pushing my bagel over in front of his bony hands. Why don't you try some of this delicious high-fiber bagel? It'll keep your jaws busy so you can't talk for a while. Robert didn't get the insult, which is nothing new. Once we were taking swimming lessons at the YMCA, a kid looked at Robert in his skinny little swimming trunks and said that he reminded him of a wet rat. Robert didn't feel bad. He just went off on a long rant about how a rat skeleton can collapse to be thinner than a German pancake, which is why they're able to sneak under refrigerators to get forgotten bites of roast beef. Actually, fiber is excellent for the digestive system, Robert said, picking up the bagel and taking a major whiff of it. Robert is the kind of guy who smells everything before he eats it. Fiber keeps your waste products moving through your bowels in a timely and healthy fashion. Robert, Ashley moaned. Hasn't anyone ever told you that normal people don't talk about their bowels at the table? I don't see what's wrong with it, Robert said. Bowels carry human waste. Human waste is a completely normal product of a body. Yeah, so are boogers and dandruff flakes. But we don't just blab on about them, dude, said Frankie. Robert adjusted his tie and took a big bite of his fish taco. That's right, I said tie, Robert is the only kid I know who wears a tie to school. He is the only kid I know who eats the fish tacos at our cafeteria. I noticed that Ashley had stopped listening. She was staring at someone across the room. I don't believe my eyes, she whispered, pushing her plastic spoon into her lime jello. She's walking over here to our table. I'm serious. Frankie and I whipped around to see who Ashley was looking at. Yikes! It was Miss Adolph. She was heading our way carrying an overripe brown banana in a napkin. No, this wasn't happening. Mind if I sit down next to you, Henry? She asked. Did I mind? Yes, I minded. I minded with every cell in my body, especially the ones that were going to be closest to her when she did sit down. Of course not, I said, hoping that maybe I'd get lucky and she would sit down somewhere in New Jersey. Everyone in the cafeteria had gotten quiet and was just staring at us. It's not natural for Miss Adolph to cruise up to your table, throw a leg over the bench, and crank up a conversation. She's not exactly your warm and cuddly type of teacher. I'd like to talk with you about Yoshi, Miss Adolph said, taking a bite of her banana. I noticed that she was eating the brown spot, the very spot that normal people cut off with a knife and throw in the garbage. What about him? I asked. Well, Henry, I've been thinking, don't you think Yoshi would like to see what life is like in a typical American family? My family is going to blow him away, I said. Miss Adolph looked down at the table and saw my broccoli mushroom bagel covered with garbanzo beans. I noticed your mother's cooking is not exactly uh, typical, she said, holding up the bagel, being careful to use the waxed paper it was lying on. I wouldn't want it to frighten Yoshi. She took another bite of her rotten banana. Boy, she should talk about scary food. I could see the rotten banana squishing between her teeth. It looked like the yellow blob in there. Zip's family is a little unusual, but they're totally fun, Frankie said. Did you know they have a pet iguana? Her name is Catherine, I said. She sleeps in the bathtub. An iguana in the bathtub, Miss Adolph said, raising her eyebrows so high they almost shot off her forehead. Is that good lavatory hygiene? I have to confess, I'm not crazy about Catherine myself, especially when I catch her hanging out in my underwear drawer, but I sure didn't like Miss Adolph turning up her nose at our lavatory hygiene. Wait until Yoshi meets Cheerio, I said, trying to change the subject. They'll get along great. He's the sweetest dog in the world. You've met him before. Oh, that dog, Miss Adolph said, the one that spins in circles until he knocks someone over? No, Henry, that's not typical either. It is for him, I said. Frankie and Ashley cracked up, but Miss Adolph just shook her head. Yoshi would love Hank's grandfather, Ashley said. Papa Pete is the best, Frankie added. He'd make Yoshi an honorary grandkid, just like Ashley and me. I'm one too, Robert said, even though Papa Pete is always complaining that I'm too skinny for him to pinch. Your grandfather, the one who eats those pickles, Miss Adolph said. He makes them himself, I said proudly. Garlic dills are Papa Pete's specialty. I hate to say this, Henry, but I don't think Japanese people enjoy garlic dills, said Miss Adolph. Then they haven't lived, I answered. Henry, Miss Adolph said, getting close enough to me so I could see the banana gunk between her teeth. My point is that I think we should put our best foot forward for our Japanese friends, and I'm not sure staying with your family will do that. Yoshi will have a great time at my house, I said to Miss Adolph. I didn't know whether to be angry or sad, so I was both. Yeah, said Frankie. Hank's family is cool and warm at the same time. Tell her Ashwina. They're really thoughtful, added Ashley. Besides, America is a land of diversity, said Robert to Miss Adolph. Hank's family is diverse. Yes, indeed. Very, 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 very diverse. Miss Adolph sighed. That shut her up once and for all. There was nothing she could say to that. She picked up her banana peel and left. Way to go, Robert Upchurch. We all reached over and slapped Robert on the back. Unfortunately, we were too enthusiastic and sent the poor little dude flying right into his plate of fish tacos. All right, that's the end of chapter 3. See you tomorrow for chapter 4.